Okay, welcome in class. Your packets are already on your desk. You need to get started with parts A, B, and C. For the do now, we only have 8 minutes to get started. Remember, we are at volume 0 for our do now. We are we're remaining in our seats. If you need anything, you are raising your hand. And for early finishers, you are pulling out your independent reading book, are reviewing the do now by annotating, which means I'm going to put an explanation point where I had a hard time, or maybe I know someone else probably had a hard time with this one, or a star, so maybe I want to talk about this one because I did a really good job on it, but Ms. Johnson brings the class back together. Alright, so we have 8 minutes on the timer. You should be getting started on your do now. Thank you, Raheem, for getting started on your do now. Thank you, Aaron, for getting started on your do now. Thank you, Jasmine, for getting started on your do now. Alright, we have about 30 seconds left for the do now. Make sure you're finishing up the one you're on. I have about 10 seconds left for the do now. If you're finished, you can still follow the early finishers. Alright. So, let's talk about the do now. Let's look at the do now is asking us to identify just the verbs and the noun in each of the sentences. This is what we're going to use for our objective later. So, what verbs and nouns did we come by in part 1, question 1? Marquila? Car is the noun. Good. Verb is hit, yes. Then we have another noun, tree is another noun. But which of those, perfect. Alright, let's look at part 2. Were there any that we put an explanation point next to? Okay, Jasmine, tell me about number 2. So number 2 is asking us to find errors in capitalization and using our editing marks. What marks did we use for number 2? Can you read the sentence out loud for us? Alright, and then, so where did we fix in this sentence? That golden, that needs to be capitalized, gate, bridge, and San Francisco is a place, so we need to, it's a proper noun, so we need to line that. Alright, so we're gonna move on from the do now. And we're gonna go you should be at the bottom of your do now, another little note section. So today our objective is that leaders will be able to complete or to identify complete sentences and fragments through analysis of the subject and the predicate. So when we look at we're going to look at some sentences, different types of sentences, and we're going to figure out whether they're complete sentences or fragment sentences, and we're going to look at nouns and verbs as the subject and predicate to kind of break those sentences down to say if they're complete or not. But we'll talk about that a little more. We're going to jump into some practice. I'll model for you, or I'll show you what it looks like once we jump into our practice, and then you'll have some time to complete some on your own, and of course I'll be circling around to help you when needed. And then we're going to wrap this lesson up with the exit ticket, which is how we'll mark our progress and keep track of our progress as we move along with our grammar. Okay? Alright, so let's turn to the second page where we'll do our practice. we'll take our notes. So, I'm gonna write and I'm gonna fill in these lines, and you're gonna fill them in with me as we go. Remember, I'm giving notes right now, and a lot of people need this information, so our volume is still gonna be at a 0 for today during this time. If you need to sharpen your pencil, kind of let me know so that you're not, the pencil sharpener is not talking over this nonsense. Okay, so complete sentences need to have a subject. We talked about that in our adjective, and a predicate. The subject is who or what the sentence is about, while the predicate is what did that who or thing, that person or that thing, what did they do? And that's going to be our verb part of our sentences to make them complete. So the next word, in a complete sentence, the noun and the subject is called a simple subject. And then the verb in the sentence is called the simple predicate. Make sure you're writing. Okay, so in the do now, Marquila, she wanted us to look at number 1, where we talked about the car hitting the tree. So, car was our subject, while predicate was the predicate was hit the tree, right? So that's hit is the verb, and then car is our person, place, or thing, so that's our noun. What did that car do? They hit the tree. Alright, so if a sentence is missing either of the two, so a subject or a predicate, if it's missing one of those two things, then we can't call it a sentence, we call it a fragment, because it's a piece of a sentence, it's not the whole thing, it needs more work. So, this last space, you'll write fragment, which means just a piece of it, it's a part of it. We need both a predicate and a subject in the sentence in order to make the sentence complete and not fragment. So, we will move on. So we're going to practice this. Circle the subject and the predicate in each sentence. Underline, write CS in the sentence if the sentence is a complete sentence, and F if the sentence is a fragment. So I'm going to show you how I would do this, Ms. Johnson. Going into this, how would I figure out what the sentences are, if they're complete or if they are a fragment? Number 1. The men painted. I know men is a noun. I'm going to check that. That's probably my subject. And what did the men do? Painted is a verb. This glass half is probably my predicate. I'm going to underline that. Okay, so it has both a subject and it has a predicate, painted. So this is a complete sentence. Alright, so what I did was I read the sentence and I figured out what is the noun in the sentence, and then what did the noun do? So what was the verb in the sentence? And in this sentence, the noun is the men, the subject is the noun is the men, and then predicate is painted. Let's do number 2. Won the game. Who won the game? Subjects are easy for me, so I always want to look for the subject first. So I want to know like who's doing what in the sentence. I'm nosy. Alright, so subject. I don't see one. One, I know that's a verb. Somebody or something is winning the game or have won the game. So I'm gonna underline that part because that's a predicate. I just need to know who's winning it or who won the game. So since I don't have a subject, this is a fragment for sure because I need a subject and a predicate to make this a complete sentence. Can I have someone read number 3? Thank you, Jasmine. The friends. Alright. The friends. Okay. Let's see the friends. That's probably who the sentence is about. That's easy for me. But what did the friends do? It does not tell me in a sentence, but I know the friends is probably who or what they want to talk about in this sentence, so I'm gonna circle that. That's my subject. And I don't have a predicate. I don't know what the friends did or what they are doing, so without a predicate, but if I have a subject, then this is a friend. Alright. Number 4, the KIPP scholars. What do I need to think about? Right here, what do I need to think about? Okay. Good. So the F, KIPP scholars, because I don't know what the KIPP scholars are doing or what they did. That's some KIPP scholars we were talking about. And then number 5, kick the goal. Kick the goal is something that somebody or something is doing. But I don't know who that somebody or something is, so that's a fragment. Alright, you have just 7 minutes to complete the rest of this sheet. Numbers 6 through 16 are the same as what I've been doing this whole time. Number 17, you have some sentences you kind of need to think about. And then number 19 is, and 19 and 20 are multiple choice, so make sure you look at all of your options. When you get started, our volume is still at a 0. We need to make sure that everyone has the space and the noise level to think, so we're at a 0 this time. You have 7 minutes to complete the rest of this. My early finisher, you can start off by doing what, Raheem? Yes, review by annotated, which means our exclamation point or our star. And then, Keela, what is our last early finisher that we could do? Our independent reading, of course, and make sure that you log your reading once you are done. Alright, Keela, you're in charge of my timer. We have 7 minutes. I'll be coming around. You may begin. Keep going. Okay, so what made you do that? Good. And so what's the next thing? Is it complete or incomplete? So, make sure you use the words when you use our terms from earlier fragments. Okay, Jasmine, can you pause the timer for us? I have a really good question. So, one of our scholars asks, is the subject only a person? No, our subject is a noun. So this could be a person, this could be a place, this could be a thing, right? We can talk about a dog, we can talk about a house, we can talk about Jasmine, right? So we have all these different options for our subjects to be. It is not just a person. So that's a really good question. Thank you for clarifying. All right, Jasmine, continue your timer. We have about 2 minutes left. All right, you have about 30 seconds left. Okay, wrap up where you are in your practice. Let's talk about some of these. Let's take the next 30 seconds and annotate, review by annotating. So go by and with one, if you didn't have time, which one would you want to share with the group, or which one do you think we need to talk about? let's look at, which one do we need to look at? Okay, so second round, I think a lot of people chose number 8. Because a lot of people are confused. This is a complete sentence, but there are only 2 words in this sentence. But let's talk about the 2 words that are in this sentence. Ballerinas it says ballerinas danced. What is the subject of this sentence? Where is the noun in this sentence? Good, the ballerinas is the noun. And what did the ballerinas do? Do we have any type of verb in the sentence? Dance, yes. We only have 2 words in the sentence, but this is totally a complete sentence because we have both our subject and our predicate. We know that the ballerinas danced. Alright, I think I had other questions around number 16. So maybe number 16 for me. I'm waiting for you. I am waiting for you. So, a lot of people, I think, were confused around you. You can be a noun, but it is not the subject of the sentence. I am the subject of the sentence, is the subject of the sentence, because the I, whoever I is, they are waiting for you. What is, or who is doing the thing is what we're looking for. Not who they are doing the thing to. What or who is doing the thing, and I'm waiting for you. So whoever I is, they're doing the waiting, so they are the subject of the sentence. So if you did not have that one, go ahead and change it. Am waiting for you is the predicate, because that's what I is doing, and then of course I is the subject. That's the person, or that's the person that is doing the waiting. Okay. Let's look at number 19. Let's look at number 18. It says sitting in the chair at the airport. Is this a complete sentence? Why not? Or you tell me why not? Right, we don't know who is sitting in this chair at the airport. So this sentence is missing a what? It is missing our subject, right? And without a subject and a predicate, this is a fragment sentence. So how can we make this sentence whole? So we can say, my mom is sitting at the chair. Good, we can say, my mom is sitting at the chair in the airport. So sometimes we need to add that in, or sometimes we forget because we're writing so fast that we are missing our subject, that we are missing our predicate. But to make sure that everything is in order and that we don't have fragment sentences in our writing, we need to make sure that we have both predicate and a subject. So who and what, or what is doing the action, and what action are they actually doing? Alright, so we are going to move on to our exit ticket. So this is the part that I need to track so that we know and we can see our growth as we move on, or if we need to come back. Can somebody remind me, what is our exit ticket expectations? Good, level 0. You see it? Thank you. Alright, and then we just have 5 minutes to do our exit ticket. You are completing all the questions because that's the best way that we can assess you to see if you know what you know, or if there's something we need to go back or review, right? So we have 5 minutes, you're answering all the questions, and we're at level 0. Alright, I have the timer this time. You may begin. You have about 30 seconds left.